Feminism is cancer.
Oh my God, we know where you're going with this one.
Well,
try again.
Anybody?
I don't want to do the
Can-
patriarchy thing.
harder.
I don't want to. I don't want to do the myth one. Can we
Troll
choose a different
harder.
one?
Paisley?
What? Oh
Go-
my God.
This one's the most
like-
boring.
Are you okay? Who here identifies as a feminist? Jesus.
It's not my answer. It's
Okay,
like,
Paisley, do you
know where
identify
it's
as a
going.
feminist? Yes or no?
What's the definition? It changes every day.
And it
Modern
changes.
CNN political feminism.
No, I don't think so. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, I
Whenever
don't
you
understand
hear
what that means.
feminism coming
So,
off of
okay.
media.
What?
I just heard CNN.
I guess one definition, supposedly, allegedly, is
Allegedly.
equality between the genders. Now, I think that's bullshit. Feminism is women's advocacy. I don't think feminism is about equality. I believe it's about women's advocacy. They will fight for equality when it benefits women, but when there is no benefit to be reaped, even if it means equality, they will not fight for it. That is my sense of what feminism is.
It's a pretty gross
think
generalization.
I think that's a pretty accurate
I
generalization.
feel like people like relabel things over time. Like I agree that like the system wise, like, you know, there's a system where, you know, some people doing the same exact job, different genders, and they're getting paid
Differently?
Yeah, they're getting paid. I think that's unfair. So that's when I say, okay, I'm a feminist. Okay, I think that's unfair. If I'm a manager and you're a manager, and I've been in my job maybe 30 years, you just got hired maybe a year, and you're getting paid more than me. Same credentials, look very similar, and I'm getting paid less, you getting more. I think that's not okay. But as far as like, I don't know. I have to be very careful with my views, but that I would say I'm a feminist in that right as far as equality is in the system wise. But as far as like me saying that, you know, I can carry my own groceries, I feel like I can independent woman. But if I believe a man has a role to play in society within the woman male relationship, but that's my 2 cents.
I think in this aspect, I would go more of a humanist. I think there's a
Or
lot
egalitarian.
of, you know, I ain't one of them scientifical types, but I would like to say that men go through a lot of the same issues women go through, just in a different way. Like body image, they have to look a certain way, they have to eat a certain thing, they have to act manly. You know, you can't get deodorant that says lavender because then all of a sudden, you know, you are a wimp.
Gay.
So that being said, it's okay if society just falls apart and ends whichever way it goes.
Back around to the.
Oh no.
Callista.
I thought the word
I
is
mean-
antinatalism. That's what you're describing.
I think I agree with it. Just varies. Like it. Sometimes it's more aggressive. Sometimes it's not. So like in the way that I would like to be equal with other people, like yes, but in the way that one is superior to the other, no.
Yeah.
Okay, Brian, I guess it's going to be a debate between me and you.
Okay, so I'm trying to remember the words. There's a difference between being the same and being equal, and obviously men and women on the whole are not the same, but like should they be equal more or less? And there are going to be different traditional, you know, there's going to be gender roles and whatnot, and I think these can inform us, but they shouldn't define people, and that has improved a lot. It was only like in the 70s that a woman could get like a bank account without her husband's approval, or like no fault divorce I don't think was even around in some places until the 90s. And again, that's just like in America. Obviously there's tons of issues elsewhere. So can feminism be toxic? Yeah, just like everything else, but I think it definitely exists for a reason, and there's a lot more work to do. But you know, the other thing is that one, and I don't know if this is true because I don't hang out with like men's rights activists, but a lot of times when they like complain about feminism, well, they're not doing a bunch to address male issues either. Like, you know, like, don't go into a feminist space complaining about male issues when it's meant to be a feminist space. Complain about male issues, you know, literally anywhere that's not specifically designated to be a feminist space. And
I mean, what if I told you that feminists have proactively attempted to destroy male spaces and get rid of them?
It's true.
Boy Scouts?
Well, first of all, the Boy Scouts have a lot bigger issues than that.
Fair enough.
And I mean, I feel like, again, ultimately gender is a construct. Like what male and female mean can vary for different people.
I have something to kind of piggyback on that. I run a comedy night called Alley Cats, and a lot of dudes come, and there's a lot of rape jokes and molestation jokes, and I think they're funny. There's a lot of women that complain about it. And the thing is, you don't know how that person on stage is processing. You don't know if that comedian has been, and that's their part of therapy and how they're going through it. You see a white dude making jokes, and then it's like, oh, you can't do that. But you're going into a comedy show, so it's all jokes. It's not to be intended to be a speech about that. It's a joke, and I think that's what's happening to a lot of male safe places. I guess that what you're saying is that women are going into places to destroy that, and that's true. Just as men have done that to women for a long time. At the end of the day, we just got to focus on being better. If we want to survive, if you want to create a society and live forever, you have to be better.
Well, I do agree with you that there's a war on comedy for sure. Mm-hmm. And we've seen that, people getting upset over jokes. We've seen it with Dave Chappelle. We've seen it with a variety of comics.
Donald Trump.
In general,
Cat
I think
Williams.
punch up, don't punch down is like a really good.
You can punch down, right?
I guess you can. I don't really find it particularly funny, but then.
But so who? Okay, when you say punch down, can you expand on what you mean by that? So are men not allowed to joke about women, but
No, they
women are
are.
allowed to joke about men?
They are, but don't.
But isn't that
basically-
punching down?
You should just be funny. I think if you're not funny, it doesn't work.
And I feel like the funnier you are, the more you can get away with. I don't agree that there's jokes that things can't be funny. I think you can make Holocaust jokes that are funny. Doesn't mean you should. It's less about is something funny and more about is this the space and the appropriate joke to tell in this space.
And a lot of people just do jokes for shock value and cringe factor, and like you said,
Which is-
it's not funny.
Yeah.
Like, if you make it funny, I'll laugh at a joke. But if you just talk about, because I have
Can we call it grape?
grape? Yeah.
Let's call it grape.
Yeah, something
Or
like
essay.
That. SN,
Oh,
people
no.
make jokes like that, and it's not funny just for to get everyone's attention. But I've laughed at a grape joke here and there. But it's not something I'm proud of, but it can be funny.
I agree with Kat though. You don't know how people are processing. I know people specifically that actually make jokes about stuff that's very baby insensitive, but it's a part of their processing.
Yeah.
Allowing that space. I know people talk about, suicide or different things like that because they actually were in that space and laughter allowed them to. It was therapy to them. So it is true. You don't know how people process.
No,
So.
I think, content warnings, as much as people make fun of them, I think they are important for stuff like that. Do you need a content warning talking about grilled cheese sandwiches? Probably not. Do you need a content warning talking about grape or suicide? Probably. I think that's a good thing. Maybe not in a comedy club where you're going in, there's going to be edgy stuff, but like on a Facebook post, if I'm making a really dark joke, I will add a content warning because people process it different ways, and some people might not.
Correct.
Yeah, it might
I
not be a
agree.
good time.
Okay.
I do agree with that. Like a content warning be, but then that's people being responsible, right? And so a lot of times people feel like I'm not gonna do all that. So it's just one of those things of you have to kind of. I know it's kind of hard. You have to self-advocate for yourself and be able to process those emotions because no one is responsible for your emotions except yourself. Something I'm learning. I've been in uncomfortable states where things were happening. I was like, that would have been nice if I had a warning, but that's my responsibility to remove myself. And sometimes we follow people knowing darn well these are things that are insensitive or, so I agree with you.
Yeah.
This is America. We got free speech.
Yeah.
Hey, come on, stop.
Except for Andrew Tate on YouTube.